Welcome back, everyone, to Global War 1914, Operation Albatross. This is the summer of 1917 for the Ottoman Empire. And for purchases, we're going to go and get 2 artillery for 10. For $4, purchase an Ottoman Guard. That's our specialist elite unit. 1 infantry for 3, and then a camel for 4. For technology, we got to start a new tech, put a new tech on the board, and we're going to go for hurricane bombardment. All right, for this tech, we need a 7 or higher, and we miss with a 4. Okay, let's come over here to combat moves, because we have quite a bit. Being pretty aggressive this turn before the fall-winter hits, and combat's only limited to 1 round. So hopefully we can have some success, at least in 1 or 2 of these battles. We're going to take 2 artillery and 3 infantry, along with a fighter from Constantinople, and go into southern Greece, see if we can't take out that Italian infantry and mountain infantry. Over here in the east, we're going to send everything we have from eastern Anatolia and North Persia and thrust all that into Transcaucasia. Transcaucasia is worth 1 IPP, also has a manpower slot, and if we capture it, it counts towards a strategic objective point. So pretty important territory there. Down here in the Middle East, we're going to go from northern Iraq and do a full-on attack into southern Iraq. We've got 3 artillery, 6 infantry, and a camel. And then we're also going to go from Palestine into eastern Egypt. Now, eastern Egypt, a lot like Iraq, has desert terrain, and so unfortunately our infantry will suffer because of that. I think our artillery will as well. I think the only units that don't take a desert penalty are camels. So, but we do have a camel in Palestine, along with 2 artillery and it looks like 7 infantry. All right, so a lot of rolling to do. I've already got the battle for Transcaucasia set up here. We have 5 infantry, a camel or a cavalry, an Ottoman Guard, and an artillery. And we are attacking in the mountains, so of course the respective units will take a -1 to their attack value because of that. The cavalry does get boosted back up to a 3 because I'm pairing him with the artillery. And then for the Russians, they have a mountain infantry at a 5, and then they do have a trench line, barely. They have the minimum requirement for a trench line, 4 infantry there at a 6. Okay, let's do our 1 first strike that we have with the artillery. Need a 3 or less. Oh, nice, we got a hit. Oh, man. Well, that provides a dilemma for the Russians. Did they take an infantry and their infantry get down to a 4? I don't think they do that. I think they take the mountain infantry right off the bat here, so he's not going to get to fire back. And we'll move on to the Ottoman infantry. So we have 5 at a 1. No hits there. And then we've got 2 units at a 3. And we do get another hit. All right, that's a pretty good first round. I will take that. And then the Russians have 4 at a 6. Only 1 hit. Wow, okay. So the Ottomans got off pretty easily on that one. I think the Ottomans are going to take an infantry. All right, and then, of course, the Russians will have to lose an infantry. So they're down to 3, and the Ottomans will proceed to a second round because now the trench line has been destroyed. Okay, we have 4 infantry at a 1. No hits. And then we've got 3 units. 3 units at a 3. And no hits. And then he's got 3 infantry at a 4. And and he does get a hit. This one's kind of cocked. And I'll re-roll it. And that's a miss. All right, so the Ottomans have to account for 1 loss. And I think we're going to do an infantry. All right, last chance to do any damage here. Let's go to a 3rd round. We have 3 infantry to 1 now. No hits. And then 3 other units out of 3. And, yep, no more hits. Well, that stinks. We exhausted all of our luck in the 1st round, and then he's got 3 infantry out of 4. And another hit. Oh, man. All right, well, we'll lose an infantry. Okay. So we kill his trench line. I was kind of hoping after that successful 1st round we'd have some more luck, but we didn't score a single hit in rounds 2 or 3. So the Russians are left with 3 infantry in Transcaucasia. However, they no longer have the trench line, at least for now. And then the Ottomans, we're going to have to figure out what to do here. I think we're going to thrust everything into eastern Anatolia. So that's going to be 2 infantry, a cavalry, Ottoman guard, and an artillery. All right, let me get the next battle set up here, and I think we'll do southern Greece. So he's got a mountain infantry in the mountains at a 5, an infantry at a 4. We have 2 infantry to 1, 1 infantry at a 2 that's going to pair with the artillery. 1917 fighter doing a ground strike at a 3. Well, I take that back. We have 2 artillery. So the 2 artillery going to be the 3, and we have 2 infantry to 2 that are boosted, and 1 infantry at a 1. Okay, 2 artillery first strikes at a 3. No hits. Got an infantry to 1. That's a miss. Needed that 3 for the artillery. 2 infantry at a 2. No hit. And then a fighter at a 3. And no hit. Man, awful 1st round. The bad luck from rounds 2 and 3 there in Transcaucasia has spilled over into the battle into Greece here. All right, Italy's got 1 at a 4. Oh, no. And he's got 1 at a 5. Of course, he hits. Oh, man. Our luck has shifted quite dramatically. Oh. I am going to lose 2 infantry. And I don't think I'm going to go to a 2nd round. So he will retain southern Greece. And we failed our goal in at least getting any kills at all. I figured at least we'd get 1, but nope. And the fighter, he's going to go, he's only got 1 movement range left, so he's going to go into Thessaly. All right, let's do the battle for southern Iraq. He's got an elite infantry, a Gurkha, at a 5. He's got a camel at a 2. 2 artillery at a 4. And he does have a trench line. He's got 5 infantry. And they're going to be at a 6. We have 3 artillery at a 3 because of the desert. We're going to boost the camel. So the camel is not subject to desert penalties, so he's going to be attacking at a 4. Pair him with 1 of the artillery, and the other 2 artillery will take on 2 infantry at a 2. So that leaves us with 4 infantry at a 1. Okay. Fingers crossed that we have better luck, because we're going to need it. All right. 3 artillery first strikes at a 3. We got a hit. All right. That's a good sign. And then he has 2 artillery first strikes at a 4. Oh my goodness. That is not a good sign. Well, he says, what you can do, I can do better. And we've got to account for 2 casualties. And, oh man. He's going to lose an infantry. So that accounts for his 1 first strike. Man, oh man. I'm going to take off 2 artillery. That'll at least give the infantry a chance to roll. Oh man, I don't want to do that. Maybe I should do 1 artillery and 1 infantry. Well, we've been manufacturing a lot of artillery lately. Yeah, we'll take 2 artillery. I don't like it, but I'm going to do it. Okay, Ottoman infantry get to go. We have 4 at a 1. Actually, we have 6 at a 1. I'll roll the other 2 here because the other 2 at a 2 get downgraded. Here's the other 2 at a 1. And all misses. And then we have a camel at a 4. And we get a hit. Okay. Now for the British side. He's got a camel at a 2. That's a miss. A Gurkha at a 5. That's a hit. And then he's got 4 infantry at a 6. 2 hits. Okay, well, not that we would want to go to a second round, but we don't have a choice. We're not going to be able to anyway because he maintains his trench line, which I assume he will because, I mean, he's not, I don't suspect he's going to lose an infantry. I think for him, he's going to lose, he's going to lose the camel. All right, so he retains 2 artillery, a Gurkha, and 4 infantry. And the Ottomans are forced to retreat back to northern Iraq, and they will retain an artillery, a camel, and, oh wait. Yeah, artillery, camel, and we're going to lose 3 infantry. So that leaves us with 3. Okay. Final battle is going to be from Palestine into eastern Egypt. The Italians have a camel at a 2, 2 infantry at a 4, an artillery at a 4 with first strike, and then the British also have units here. They've got 3 infantry at a 4. We have 7 infantry at a 1, 2 artillery, first strike at a 3 because of the desert, and a camel will pair with one of the artillery, go up to a 4. One of the infantry will pair with the artillery, go up to a 2. All right. 2 artillery first strikes at a 3. Yes, we get a hit. Hopefully the Italians won't. He's got a 4 or less, and he misses. All right. 6 Ottoman infantry at a 1. Ooh, 2 hits. Hey. Having much better luck here. Dang it. I had a first strike marked, but I don't think the artillery hit. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it now. Dang it. All right, so 2 hit for the infantry. We have 1 infantry at a 2. That's a miss, and then a camel at a 4. All right. I don't know, I had it marked down that first strike, and it wouldn't have been from the last battle because, oh man, because they didn't get any hits at all. So, well, no, the British did lose a camel. I'm gonna have to go back and look. So let's roll for this camel that's defending at a 2. And he misses. All right, so he would lose the camel. So, if in fact he got a first strike hit, the Italians would lose the camel and it'd be inconsequential. There's also a total of 5 infantry at a 4. Wow, and they all miss. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have to account for 2 losses here, and I think we're gonna go with an Italian infantry and a British infantry. All right, we'll go to round number 2. This is a big battle because Eastern Egypt is a very strategic place, and it would give us a strategic objective. So, and the Central Powers are very desperate for any victory points they can get because we're behind. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 6 infantry at a 1. No hits. 1 infantry at a 2. That's a miss. 2 artillery at a 3. That's a hit. And then a camel at a 4. That's a miss. All right, I'm going to roll for his camel because, like I said, I don't know if he is a casualty or not. I don't know if there was a first strike, but we're going to see if it's inconsequential or not. And it is. It's a miss. And, and then he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 units out of 4. And he does get a hit. All right, so each side gets a hit this round. Ottomans will lose an infantry. So we now have 5 out of 1. And he will lose, I guess we'll take a British infantry off. Okay, final round. Ottomans need to get a total of 3 hits, maybe 4, depending on if the camel is still alive. So we'll see what happens here. All right, 5 infantry at a 1. No hits. 1 infantry at a 2. No hit. 2 at a 3. No hits. So the British are guaranteed to retain Eastern Egypt. 1 at a 4. And we get a hit. Okay. Let's roll for the camel. Oh, he gets a hit. Oh, okay. We'll have to keep that in mind when I go back to watch the video. And if the camel is still alive and there wasn't a first strike from the artillery in the first round, then I will just remove like an extra Ottoman unit from the board. Okay, he's got 3 more units at a 4. He gets another hit. Okay, so 1 hit for sure on both sides. I think we will lose the British infantry. And the Ottomans will lose an infantry of their own. Okay, so the Ottomans are left with 5 infantry, maybe 4, depending on if the camel, in fact, is still alive. Although, if that's the case, I think the Italians will choose to lose the camel, and then we'll replace it with the British infantry instead. So that's something that I'll figure off camera and determine. The Ottomans do maintain their trench line in Palestine. 5 infantry, 2 artillery, and a camel. And then the Italians have 1 infantry, 1 artillery in eastern Egypt. Okay. Let's come over here for non-combat moves. We don't have a whole lot. We are going to rail an artillery from... we have 2 rails because we have improved logistics. So we're going to rail 1 artillery to northern Iraq. Actually, we're going to rail... Yeah, 1 artillery is going to rail to northern Iraq. And the other one's going to rail to Palestine. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do both artillery railing to northern Iraq. Since we still have 2, I'd rather have more artillery in northern Iraq because the British have more units there than in eastern Egypt. Okay, 1 artillery from Anatolia will move over to eastern Anatolia. We need to get our trench line back here in northern Iraq, so 1 infantry will move over from Syria into northern Iraq. 1 infantry from Anatolia will come down to Syria. 1 infantry from Constantinople will move over to Anatolia. And I think we're ready to place units. Just double checking here. Yep, I think we're good. Okay. Two artillery will go into Constantinople, along with an infantry. And I think we're also going to put the Ottoman Guard in Constantinople. This buildup over here kind of worries me a little bit. So I think I'm going to put the Ottoman Guard in Anatolia instead. And then we have a camel. The camel will go into northern Iraq. He's got to be placed down in the desert, and we do have a manpower slot there. All right. Oops. Let's figure out income. Our base is sitting at 12. We don't get any bonus or anything, but we do get to roll for our wartime economy. And it's a 6, so 18. So we will have 18 in the bank for next turn, and that will be it for the Ottomans. Next up will be Russia. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, take it easy. Bye for now.